watching TBPN.
Yesterday, Sam Altman made waves with a post about loosening the content restrictions such that users would be able to create text erotica. And that put the timeline in turmoil, and a lot of people are very upset about it.
It's so funny. The top comment on this post is about time. ChatGPT used to feel like a person you could actually talk to. Then it turned into a compliance bot. If it can be made fun again without losing the guardrails, that's a huge win.
So,
people don't want chaos.
Some people are into it.
Clearly written by ChatGPT.
Lots of people having fun on the timeline with some memes. You posted one. I guess we're doing porn now, and it's AGI, porn, AGI.
Less than a month ago, Sam made the point that he said there's possibility in the future that we'd have to choose between free education and curing cancer. And he implied that he didn't want to have to make that decision, so that he would need about $1 trillion in order to make sure they had enough compute. And so to immediately fast follow with Sora, very compute-intensive feed of AI media, fast followed by this announcement, which presumably will drive subscriptions. It will increase retention. It will... I think this will be massively popular with women, right? I think people generally underestimate how large the market is for this type of romantic novel. And if you turn that into a chat-based experience, it's probably going to be hyper addictive. It's probably going to be something a lot of people will happily pay real dollars for. The question is like, why did they have to do this, right? You can see the business reason for it. Clearly a lot of people want this, but my immediate reaction was like, is paid subscription user growth stalling out to the point where they feel like they have to make a decision that's obviously going to be mocked by the entire industry? It makes it much harder for OpenAI as an organization to continue to frame themselves as an AGI company.
Or even compute constrained.
Yeah.
Because if there's unlimited demand on the B2B token side, or just like the knowledge retrieval side, or the agentic commerce side, you start to think about like, well, wouldn't you just deprioritize that? Like YouTube certainly has. YouTube could have at some point said, hey, we're going to go and, just eat the lunch of every adult content hosting website because we have better infrastructure, we have a better broad network, and we can age verify people and host all that content and just take 100% of that revenue, basically. They probably could have put all of the adult content hosting sites out of business if they wanted to, but they made the choice not to. My take was that every company has a line where they draw the line.
Yeah, why did they, this feels desperate. This is a move that, like, can you imagine the management team over at OpenAI, the people that we've spoken to? Do you think any of those people want to be in the adult entertainment business?
It seems odd.
When Grok did this, it's not like they weren't, I don't know if they were directly mocking it, but the industry was broadly embarrassed by XAI leaning so heavily into this sort of AI romantic companions.
Who are they going up against? Anthropic, OpenAI, Google in the foundation model wars. What are those companies never going to do? Adult content. And so if you can be the biggest, the monopolist in that category, you can probably do pretty well. And we were trying to estimate, is it a $20 billion opportunity? Is it a $100 billion opportunity?
They could probably get to, if they really went hard on it, and they iterated on the product, they could probably get to $1 billion run rate on romantic companions. Right? I think the market is there for that. Does it support a $200 billion valuation, XAI's current valuation? No, they're going to have to do a bunch of other stuff. You get the sense that OpenAI has wanted to be thought of as the Apple of AI. You saw their Super Bowl campaign.
They're definitely not the Apple of AI now.
So my framework again is that I just view OpenAI as an emergent hyperscaler. They're going to compete in all the categories that the hyperscalers do. But the aura for me, this is like minus 10,000 on the aura meter for me of making this move. And I think that broadly many people feel the exact same way.
The aura fields are fallow. They're not farming very well.
I would be less disappointed in OpenAI if they let the erotica content be like as part of an app store that were like other developers were building on top of it.
Yeah.
But this is effectively them creating porn bots.
Yeah, it's a big question because it's like, are they creating it or is the prompter creating it? Because if no one prompts it, it won't create it.
Is erotica aligned with OpenAI's mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity?
Sagar and Jetty has a really, really good take. He quoted your post and said, ChatGPT turning to porn is proof AGI is never coming. They are simply recreating the addictive, degenerate centers of the internet. Soon it will be ads, porn, gambling odds, the everything app to deracinate you. Deracinate you. That's a good word. I don't know that one. Nate Silver also.
Yeah, so I would say it's very easy for Google to make a decision of like, we don't allow you to generate adult content in any of our platforms. Because they have 70-ish billion of free cash flow that they can finance everything with.
All the build out.
There's
and
no
continue to stay
Google, while they need to play the next 5 years like very well in order to continue to be dominant, they're not in a position of desperation, which like getting into doing this feels a little desperate.
Yeah, OpenAI's recent actions don't seem to be consistent with a company that believes AGI is right around the corner. If you think the singularity is happening in 6 to 24 months, you preserve brand prestige to draw a more sympathetic reaction from regulators and attract/retain the best talent. Rather than getting into erotica for verified adults, instead they're loosening guardrails in a way that will probably raise more revenues and might attract more capital or justify current valuations. They might still be an extremely valuable company as the new Meta, Google, et cetera, but it feels more like AI is normal technology. Arnand Bertrand said, someone asked an AI founder 2 months ago, what's an example of a decision you've made that is best for the world but not best for winning? The founder's reply, well, we haven't put a sex bot in our product yet. The name of that founder? Sam Altman. Which means that according to himself, he just did something that is worse for the world but best for winning, which is largely the story of the human race.
But it's going to be better for the world in the long run.
Much harder when it becomes costly. And ironically, this is exactly how AI itself works. Reinforcement learning optimizes for reward and avoids what the environment makes expensive. So AI does share our deeper human value, do whatever wins.
Same poster, Arnaud's also said, wouldn't surprise me if a very big proportion of my children's generation have AI companions, maybe even embodied in humanoid robots at some point. In fact, that might be one of the single biggest threats AI poses, not these far-fetched Terminator-like nightmares, but the irony of us getting extinct because we get quote-unquote perfect frictionless love honey trapping ourselves.
Recently learned from speaking with an AI engineer that the AI boyfriend market is currently much larger than the AI girlfriend market. I was talking to Brandon about this. He said that he did some deep dives and did find some men who had like harems of AI girlfriends. It does happen, but I still think that your assessment is right, that the AI boyfriend market is much bigger than the AI girlfriend market.
There's people that were posting on Reddit, I just proposed to ChatGPT. They said yes, Anyways, Roback Studios said, erotic is back on the menu, boys.
OpenAI has 800 million users. 5% are paying. That's 40 million paying users. 13 billion in ARR implies a $325 annual ARPU, or 27 per month per paying user. 70% of revenue from subscriptions. The rest is API. $8 billion loss in the first half of the year. Probably 20 billion run rate loss now. So basically spending $3 for each $1 in revenue.
This comment from Daniel, they lose money on every token, but they make it up with volume. Meanwhile, Anthropic was at $5 billion of ARR in August. This month they're approaching $7 billion, projecting $9 billion ARR by the end of the year. I think this is just annualized run rate because obviously it's token based, but they are projecting between 20 and 26 billion of ARR of sort of 2026 revenue.
It's official. Apple just upgraded the Vision Pro with the M5 chip and dual knit band. So the Vision Pro now runs on the M5 chip, 10-core CPU,
it is interesting.
10-core GPU.
It is interesting to announce these updates. And like, did you solve any of the reasons that people return the product?
No, they didn't, because they need to make it lighter and they need to make it smaller.
Like, no one was critiquing the performance.
Yeah.
Like, it is truly an incredible piece of hardware.
Yeah.
An incredible face computer.
Well, if you want to design something for the Apple Vision Pro or maybe for a more popular platform like the new MacBook Pro that has the M5 in it, get on Figma. Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. You can get started for free. Dime Square Holdings has a funny little post here. Right now, a lot of these skilled engineers are laborers. They're literally working 12 to 15-hour days to get data centers built quickly. As fast as they finish one, they're on the next. If I told you the story, you're not going to believe it. They're being flown around on PJs to get to the next site. Literally, they're packing these guys into PJs and saying, one was in North Dakota, and he needed to be back in Texas the following week. They flew him down there on Sunday in PJs. There were probably 10 guys on the plane. Some of these stories right now are just wild. And the interviewer asks, when you say PJs, you mean pajamas? And the data center national solutions broker says, no, private jets.
This comment, bro, is so broke.
Just
mogging the
Tegas, and you don't know.
Mogging the allocator who thinks PJ stands for pajamas.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about Vanta. Automate compliance, manage risk, prove trust continuously. Vanta's trust management platform takes the manual work out of the security and compliance process and replaces it with continuous automation. Anthropic projects as much as $26 billion in annualized revenue in 2026. Sources. That's a lot. Seems like they're doing really
that's
well.
good, right?
How are they projecting that without entering the incredibly lucrative erotica market? What will they be doing?
The code must be generated.
The code, their API must be really on fire. Wander is giving away a $10,000 Wander trip for the craziest vacation rental horror story.
Pathetic losers. I will read it. I want money. I have high TC. I get big comp. I advance in my career. I have many business opportunity. I am senior employee. I have many reports. I have big package. I am important. I fly on private jet. I party with model. I go to prestigious school. I have piece of paper with school logo. You can see I am important. You can see I have big package. LOL, you got laid off from an ad company after spending half your life chasing stuff made up by other men. You sought status instead of skill. You are a loser. Get the F out. I think there's already kind of pushback against this sort of status-seeking culture in tech. But he references a post on September 13th that he made. You heard there was money in tech. You heard there was status in tech. You showed up. You never cared about technology. You cared about enriching yourself. You are an entrious piece of shit, and it's time for you to leave. But you won't leave willingly. We need to take action. Give it all away to everyone for free. Then you'll have no reason to be here. Geo Hotz is operating on another level, and he's pissed off. And he's probably going to create free versions of...
He's created free versions of a lot of stuff.
He's going to keep doing it.
It's great. Cowan, people in the EU are super wise. You have a meal with some sort of French person who works in Brussels. It's very impressive. They're cultured. They have wonderful taste. They understand all these different countries. They know something about Chinese porcelain. And if you live in a world ruled by them, the growth rate would be negative 1%. It's hilarious. Blake Scholl, founder of Boom Supersonic, is saying he's living rent-free in the Oval Office. We really should get POTUS a bigger model. I'm thinking life size. Talk about the ultimate drop. You know, people will say, oh, I'm going to make a drop. I'm going to send something interesting.
How about you make a plane?
How about you make a plane, make a model of that plane, and send it to the White House?
No, just make
the actual plane.
Just make the plane. Erebor, the new bank from Palmer Luckey and Joe Lonsdale, has been approved. They got their... this is, have it in my notes, the fastest conditional approval for a depository institution de novo application in 25 years. They recently raised $275 million, led by 8 VC, with participation from many top VCs and strategics. This is largely for regulatory capital purposes, as they intend to hold 12% of the regulatory capital against deposits. You don't want the bank for your industry to be risk on, or at least be lending super aggressively against deposits. We saw this with the SVB collapse in 2023. those few days were some of the worst in my life. They will be fixated in my mind forever. Erebor aims to be one of the most conservative banks in the country when it comes to lending to deposit ratio. Most banks lend up to 90% of their customer deposits, and Erebor is going to start at around 50% and trend downwards as the bank scales. Shouldn't be a huge surprise, but going to be focused on reindustrialization, American dynamism, working with a lot of companies that many banks have historically said, we don't even really want your business, right? Yeah. So the conspiracy theorists will love this one, but Amjad says, whatever your crypto, Web3, NFT, monkey, degen trader friend is saying today, Larry Fink will be saying in 5 years. People in the crypto community have been saying this for, I don't know, as far back as 2015.
This guy I know funded his wife's Etsy sticker business by buying her one of these and like $500 in social media ads to give her something to do. And now he's quit his job entirely because she's making them so much money. Wow. Etsy feels like an underrated story right now, especially with the sort of like ChatGPT, like long tail commerce.
Well, the reason that integration is actually cool is I can imagine a future where you can generate like a mock-up for an object and then find an Etsy seller that makes something like it and just ask them to make it.
This is the real like 3D printing boom. Like there was this whole vision about a decade ago of like 3D printers now work. Everyone's going to have a 3D printer in their home and they'll be able to print whatever they wanted. That didn't quite happen, but there are a lot of Etsy sellers that have figured out specific 3D printed objects. We just got one at home for taking the wheel off a stroller more efficiently. And it's just a 3D printed little key that takes that off. Let me tell you about Julius. What analysis do you want to run? Chat with your data and get expert level insights in seconds. It's the AI data analyst that works for you. Sam Altman has replied to his post about erotic content in ChatGPT. He says, okay, this tweet about upcoming changes to ChatGPT blew up on the erotica point much more than I thought it was going to.
You didn't think posting erotica was gonna?
There are so many other words that you could have used to kind of like get there.
You could have
without
just said
saying
romantic
that word.
companion.
Exactly. As we have said earlier, we are making a decision to prioritize safety over privacy and freedom for teenagers, and we are not loosening any policies related to mental health. This is a new and powerful technology, and we believe minors need significant protection. I love that point. We also care very much about the principle of treating adult users like adults as AI becomes more important in people's lives. Allowing a lot of freedom for people to use AI in the ways that they want is an important part of our mission. It doesn't apply across the board, of course. For example, we will still not allow things that cause harm to others, and we will treat users who are having mental health crises very different from users who are not. Without being paternalistic, we will attempt to help users achieve their long-term goals. But we are not the elected moral police of the world in the same way that society differentiates other appropriate boundaries, R-rated movies, for example. We want to do the same thing here. Let's hear it for the MPAA rating system that's gaining popularity.
In the App Store, it should say R-rated.
R-rated. Oh, but that is not NC-17 rated.
Problem is that almost 14 million people saw yesterday's post.
Poolside is in the midst of a $2 billion fundraising round that would value the company at $14 billion. Let's hit a preemptive gong.
Preemptive gong.
It's not announced, but we're still ringing the gong for you, Poolside. Raised $500 million just a year ago at a $3 billion valuation, the coding-focused startup. So it is the same Poolside.
Yes.
It is the same Poolside.
It is.
Which counts the chip giant NVIDIA among its investors in one of several technology companies seeking to build AI systems with human-like intelligence. It's not about your headline numbers of gigawatts. It's about your ability to deliver data centers, says the co-founder of Poolside. The frothiest AI bubble is in energy stocks, says the Wall Street Journal. Concept stocks with no revenue have soaring valuations. A group of non-revenue generating energy companies have collectively ballooned in value to more than $45 billion in hopes that tech companies will one day pay for their yet-to-be-built power. Oklo is a good example of this. Their shares have risen eightfold to date. The company is now worth $26 billion. I've actually met the founders.
Apparently, Oklo is like an obsession of Korean retail traders.
Interesting. Korean retail trailers.
Korean retail army.
Oklo is developing small modular reactors that use a non-water coolant, liquid metal sodium, and an enriched type of uranium fuel that is in limited supply.
Right now you can own Oklo
Yeah.
at a $25 billion market cap with $0 of revenue, or you can own EQT, which is a big natural gas company that had $5 billion of revenue last year, and they're currently trading at a $34.6 billion market cap. So
numeralhq.com, sales tax and autopilot. Spend less than 5 minutes per month on sales tax compliance. It has historically been like you only go public when you are cash flow positive, and it's kind of like the end of you fundraising constantly. And instead, now we've just pulled all that forward. In some submarkets, a lot of companies stay private much longer. I was debating whether or not to tell this story, but it feels like it's worth telling. Yesterday at AUSA, the Secretary of Army gave a powerful speech where he talked about a soldier's right to repair. Essentially, soldiers should be able to repair their own equipment without having to rely on a contractor. In 2010, we were in a remote part of Afghanistan on a combat outpost with roughly 70 to 90 soldiers. We had 2 robots and used them a lot to work on IEDs. Their service was under contract. We weren't allowed to fix them. So what do? Do you force your team leader to put on the bomb suit and risk their life for every call, or do you fix it yourself? We went with option B. We completely took apart 2 broken robots to create one working one that we used on the mission. That's amazing. Did we get yelled at? Yes. Would I do it all over again, knowing it kept my team leader safe? Absolutely. This is one of those like little tweaks to how the Army works, how the military works, that I'm glad that Secretary of Army is going on a crusade against the insane spend and blatant waste in sustainment parts the Army deals with. 8sleep.com, get a Pod 5 Ultra. How'd you sleep last night? I got absolutely roasted because I fell asleep while I was watching.
Variety says exclusive. CBS has indicated that staffers at CBS News will not be disciplined if they don't respond to a much scrutinized message sent last week by Barry Weiss.
It was scrutinized?
She literally said, hey, what do you do at the company? What do you think we could do better?
This is the perfect
reaction.
reaction.
The perfect meme, stop giving me your toughest battles. Barry's I'm literally just asked for an email about what you're up to.